Most of you have this in a jar, but this is real, recently alive oregano, fresh from the kill. And it's going to be a key player in today's outing. Back in the 60s, shortly after color television showed up, there were actually only two programs in color. They were both on Sunday night, Wonderful World of Disney and Bonanza. Our neighbor had a color TV we used to go over and watch. Anyway, it was thought that pretty soon we would have smell-o-vision, and oh, I wish we did. Herbs like oregano smell so good when they're fresh and you chop them up. Amazing stuff. So what we're going to do with it, a few months back I did a meatloaf, and it turned out kind of Southwest. We put some corn and some barbecue sauce in it. We're going to do a little bit of an Italian version of a meatloaf today. So what do we got? Okay. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that my amounts are, some of this, a handful of that, nothing is really precise in this, which is kind of the adventure of working in the kitchen. You just never know what you're going to come up with for sure. Once you do it, then you go back and say, well, I had a little too much salt, a little, and you modify it. But experimenting is just really part of the fun. So we've got 1.5 pounds of ground beef. We've got 1 pound of Italian sausage, pork sausage. We'll toss our oregano in there. We're going to need, there we go, salt. I've mentioned I use kosher salt. There's a couple differences in kosher salt. One is it's not iodized. They put iodine in salt to try to help control goiter, which isn't really much of an issue anymore. So it's also a coarser salt. I also use coarse ground pepper. Toss in some of that. I've got about half an onion. Got a cup, pardon my hands getting in the way here, a cup of breadcrumbs. Now, I did a video, one of my first videos is called One Crummy Video, and it's about breadcrumbs, how to harvest them, how to keep them. They will last pretty much forever. We've got basil in a tube. I found fresh oregano. For some reason, couldn't find fresh basil. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, that's pretty good. We'll squirt in a good dollop of that. We're going to need an egg. An egg kind of works as the glue to bind the breadcrumbs together. And then the star of the show, store-bought marinara. Now, I could make my own marinara, and I encourage you to make your own marinara, but we're just going to do this. I'm going to hold a little bit back for later. You didn't see that. Good stuff. Ooh, that stuff's cold. Playing with your food is really one of the fun parts. This is where, the thing about cooking, and like I say, if you've seen my episode 1, I never really cooked for myself until I was in my 50s. There was always somebody else to do it, There was mom, and then there were girlfriends, and there were kind of communal living things in the 60s and 70s, Us old hippies, we had all kinds of different ways to pass the time. And so there was always somebody around to do it, and then one day there wasn't, and I kind of got into playing with the food. And the tactile part of it, the actual touching of the food, is really kind of an amazing thing. it connects you to what you're doing. There's another thing we're going to do with it that's very tactile. Around Christmas time, I make a special sausage for friends, and we're going to do that. And in that one, we get to play with 15 pounds of beef all at one time. So watch forward to Christmas time. Okay, we got this pretty well mixed up. Now, what to do with it? Well, a lot of people will bake this in a loaf pan. If you decide you want to do that, don't put the plastic in like I just did, because you'll have a mess. I don't bake it in a loaf pan, mostly because what we've got here is 20% fat. And when this cooks, all that fat kind of renders out, and you end up with your meatloaf swimming in a pool of fat. So we're going to do this a little differently. I'm going to use the loaf pan. We'll dump all this in. So like I said, we got 2.5 pounds of meat, and that pretty well fills up the pan. Kind of smash it down in here. That's looking pretty good. I think we can get rid of the gloves here, because we're done with the messy part. Move that out of the way. We'll move this out of the way. We'll bring this guy in. We've just got a plain old cookie sheet. We've got a plain old cookie sheet lined with foil and a cake rack in it. We'll take this and real quickly, over she goes. And there we've got one large and very pretty meatloaf ready to hit the oven. 350 degrees. We're going to check it at 45 minutes. It's probably going to need an hour and a quarter, but we're going to, right around an hour, we got something else we need to do with it. So, stand by. We'll be right back. We're a little over an hour. We're looking for 160 degrees, which is right about 70 Celsius. 71, 72, 73. Okay, that is done, but we're not quite finished with it. We're going to paint some more marinara on the top here. And we got to give it a little mozzarella. Now, what do you think? Does that look good? Maybe a little bit more right here, a little bit over there. Okay. I'm going to turn the oven off. We don't really need a whole lot of heat. We'll give it about another 10 minutes and see what we got. Well, what do you think? I can't tell you how good this smells. You know, back to that smell-o-vision thing. Take a little taste here. Oh, yeah. It's a meatloaf, but think spaghetti and pizza. Oh man, that's good. You gotta give this a try. Basil, oregano, marinara sauce, mozzarella. Easy way to dress up a meatloaf. Well, as always, thank you for joining me here in the tiniest kitchen in Puyallup. Really glad you took the time to be here. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, maybe even share. That's the only way we get the channel to grow, is if folks like you help us out by letting others know about it. Thanks again for being here. Peace.